So it's recording now. Okay.
Yes.
So the recording is running. I'm talking to Filip Van Kerckhoven. And before we start to talk about my project with the how is it called? Integrity Climate Course, with the idea to sing together this beautiful song, Amazing Grace. I'd like to ask you if you can introduce yourself a little bit with your biosphere project, who you are, what you're doing, on what kind of ideas you're working with your project.
I'd
So,
love to. Thank you. And thank you for inviting me for this conversation. Well, I'm Philip, like you are, and I was a painter, like you were. And in 2020, I decided, like you did, that I would stop my practice as a painter in order to concentrate on the convergence of ecological crises and start a project around that. And I started a website and a blog, and that's called the Biosphere Project. And in this project, I try to share the results of my own research into the nature of all these ecological crises, and especially from a broader perspective that doesn't only focus on things like CO2 or the sort of known mechanistic approaches to these ecological crises, but rather a wider lens that takes in our worldview and the things that are in our own blind corner, the things that we don't see about this whole issue. And that those things have to do with what we believe about the world and what we believe about ourselves. And many of those beliefs are sort of below the radar. So I try to bring that up and spread ideas relating to these things. And there should follow a book and a travel project and many other things.
yes. And this kind of,
That's in a nutshell, yeah.
yeah, in a nutshell. And that's already what connects us in our worldview or in our work. I think where we met is the NAS forum from Charles Eisenstein. And yeah, we know each other for, I don't know, half a year or something. And we talk.
Something like that, I guess, yeah, a
We
little longer than that.
every second week, we are talking on Zoom about our project and doing the exchanging of ideas and opinions and stuff.
Mhm.
So what I was inviting you today in this conversation was to maybe share your point of view on my project. I have the homepage nearly done now. It's nearly ready. We mentioned short before this conversation that are some mistakes inside the English translation. But I think the whole thing is ready to look at, and that's what you were doing. So you were reading the text and checking it, and we already was talking about in another conversation about this 12 points or 12 invitations from the project, and so yes, that's what I'm interested in. Your fresh and not too perfect look at the whole things. If it's working for you, if it's coherent, if it's possible to understand the idea. Is it too complicated? Is it working for you as a whole, the whole project or as a whole conversation thing?
Well, yeah, it's a fresh look. I had a look at it yesterday evening and then again tomorrow, to this morning. And I like it. And that was my first reaction. I think the website that you made is very clear and it's simple, but it contains a lot of information, but in a very uh, compact and clear way. Like there's nothing that doesn't need to be there, it's just very much to the point. But nevertheless, it has a lot of implicate information, or how should I call it? And I think it's easy to navigate the menu and the links. Um, I think the way you explain the inspiration on the homepage is nice. Sort of call to action, like your other website is in a way.
Mhm.
And then the way you describe the actual idea of the climate choir is also very well explained, I think, very concise, and I also like the little history of the song that you put there, The Amazing Grace,
Yeah.
um, and then the 12 points. So I think it's a very, at this point, I think it's a very nice site and a very useful tool, I think, to get your project started, as I see it. And also the call at the end for the choirs to participate, and then the sort of procedure they can follow. And yeah, so I think it's a very well thought out idea. And what I also like is that it's very much achievable in the short term. I think it's not a project that depends on a lot of resources or financing, or it's
Absolutely.
it's very simple. It can be realized in a short time. It can go viral. I hope. So
Yes, that was the main thing for me to do something, or to think about something really small and really
mm.
um, simple, which is
And
not.
what I also like is that it is a positive action. Like it's
I hope
it's
so.
it's not a fight against something. It's an ode to something, and it's a joyful gathering of people who will sing
Yes.
beautifully. And that will no doubt inspire people in the public space where it's intended to do its
Mm.
things. Um, and I think we need a lot of those positive approaches to
Mm.
all crises, because it's easy to become depressed or despondent or angry, or and so I think we need a lot of creativity and joy, and new ideas and new ways to go about this whole thing. And so I think this is a great example of how we can do fun stuff in regards to all these crises. Yes.
Cool, cool. It's beautiful how you describe it, and it's absolutely what I was intending to
Mm,
do with the whole thing. So you understand absolutely 100% what it's all about, and I'm thankful, and I appreciate it if it's working in a simple way and if it's understandable, because you and I know, we both know that many of the people out there doesn't have so much time and
mm,
focus on long text and long narratives,
yeah.
or long discussions, or reading so much
Mm,
stuff. So yes, that's what I was trying to do, to find something like on point, clear, and also
mm,
it also not also there are many ideas and a lot of stuff behind the idea, which are important to know and to understand. But yeah, the whole thing is not for everybody, the project and the website, but it's for people which are already aware about what
mm,
problems and the crisis which we are digging in are all about.
mm.
So yes, I was thinking in the morning because I had a conversation yesterday. If it's for when you take a fresh look about it or on the idea, if it's too moralic,
Moralistic, moralizing.
too moralizing, because
Mm.
the first quote on the main side or on the homepage is from um, Coretta
Scott King, yeah.
Scott King, and it says like if you're not really
Mm,
working on the positive change, you are really part of the problem, something like
mm.
this, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And I was thinking about if it's not positive, maybe not positive enough, because it's a starting
Yeah,
point. It's a
yeah,
starting point,
yeah,
and it's
yeah, yeah.
you know what I'm saying. But on the other
Yes.
side, you see
Yeah.
her smiling face on the website, the portrait from her, and yeah,
Mm.
it could be also framed positive, I think. And what for me is important to put into the project is I don't want mm, don't want to
Point a finger, like
mm,
blame, or
no, of course not. But I also want to say what's this thing all about, right? And
Mhm.
it's not about we are all fine and we're all such beautiful beings and everybody is all right what he's doing and we have all the time of the world. And on one hand and on one perspective, it's right to think like this
Mm. Mhm.
in a spiritual way, right?
Yeah,
That
yeah,
we are all
yeah.
connected and we're all brothers and sisters. I have no problem with this, but we have
Mm.
all also we also need a culture, I think,
Mm.
to tell each other the truth and to
Mm.
tell each other what we're thinking about each other, right?
Exactly, yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yeah, well, I know what you mean with that question, and I think it's a balance that I'm trying to fine tune all the time as well. Like, I try to give people a sense of urgency as well. Like, okay, we need to start doing something, all of us, like nobody can really think it has nothing to do with him or her.
mm,
Uh, I like to convey this sense of urgency and to give people the feeling. I hope that people who read my blog or follow my project will get a sense of this uh, urgency to start doing something themselves. That's my intention, that people who read what I write get the inspiration and the energy to start doing something themselves, because I think it's also a matter of inspiration and energy and positive energy and hope and belief also, because in order to start doing something, I think you have to believe that there is still something to be done, because some people think it's too late already and there's nothing we can do, or the problems are too big and what can I do and what difference can I make? And, people are easily in this place of sort of passivity and despair. And so
which is the easy way, of
Y-
course.
Yeah, it's an easy way. There are also the other people who are on the barricades and who are shouting and fighting and who are screaming, whose fault it all is, and
That's maybe also the easy way.
that's also an easy way. So I think it's a matter of feeling your connection to the whole picture again. Like we can feel connected to everything that's happening on the planet, and at first that can feel like it's overwhelming because there's so much bad stuff happening. But there's so much good stuff happening too all the time, and you have to see both things. And if you feel connected and you feel that you are an important part of that, because I think every living person is important in this. Everybody, like you don't have
Absolutely.
to be influencer with 1 million followers or a big shot intellectual. I think everybody can make a difference, and that's the sense I want to impart also. And I think you try to do that as well. And then that quote, it can maybe as a first quote on the page, it might seem a little severe. I don't know, like, and then you have another quote by Joanna Macy that says, I believe it's Joanna Macy further on in the website, where uh, uh,
What does it say?
well, it was something about how everybody combined will make a difference. The combined actions of everybody will make a difference.
Jane
Uh,
Goodall?
Jane Goodall, or maybe it was Joanna Macy,
No.
or Jane Goodall. Maybe it was Jane Goodall. You know the quote that I'm talking?
All the difference in the world.
Yes, that quote. So that's a good one too, I think.
Yeah.
And I have a quote on my own website, also by Jane Goodall. It says uh, that everybody has an impact on the world, and you have to choose what impact you will have. So, and I think that's what you also try to achieve, is to make people aware of that, that we're all a part of the what's happening, and that we all have a responsibility, and
Yes.
uh, and that we have agency, like that people can make a difference, and that
Mhm.
they need to believe that again. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's clear, and that for sure. But I don't know. I wasn't thinking about if it could be negative or pointing with fingers on someone, or in this first
Mm.
quote from Coretta
I
Scott,
didn't see
Scott
it that
King.
way when I didn't experience it that way. When I love the photograph of her. It's so nice, such a beautiful image of her,
Yeah,
and people can. It's okay maybe to say it like this.
I think so.
That okay.
Scott King was saying it this way, so it's okay to say
Yeah,
it.
yeah. So I
And
think it's I think I didn't strike me as being a negative or.
yes, yes, you will always find people who criticize and find
Yeah.
things like this, which are maybe not spiritual enough or something. But this is also a thing. What I have often my problem with those things which I'm calling this spiritual correctness, right?
Yeah.
So I think the whole project and the whole thing and the 12 points are mm, focused and not are very much on point and really saying that we should move our asses to do
Mhm.
something and to do something more, and that it's about that we have to do more than we did before,
And we've been doing, yes.
and that we're in a situation which is unknown to the human being in this um, um,
I think what might be an interesting perspective in
yes,
all this is the idea that much more is possible than people realize,
absolutely. Yeah.
because we've all been sort of indoctrinated into a mechanistic and sort of pessimistic view of the world, and we forget the amazing things that have happened already in the past, and the amazing changes for good that have happened in the past. We tend to forget those or take them for granted,
Mhm.
and so to give people a feeling that there really is, it's possible that many amazing things will happen in the short term, even, uh, because yeah, I think people have a hard time believing that these days. Because
Yes.
news, it's all bad news. If you look at the TV news, it's all horror, and so but that's that of course tends to focus on one kind of news,
Yeah.
and I think there are a lot of actions like yours taking place and growing, and there's a connectivity that's taking place where people are connecting all over the planet in many ways, starting up things like this, and yeah, so I think there is a lot brewing under the surface, and what you want to do will be a part of that, and there is a critical mass growing, and then once the critical mass is reached, then who knows what can happen.
Absolutely. Yes. I could not say it in better words than you did it, Philip. Beautiful. Yes. What else? So that describes the whole thing perfectly, I think. I hope it will work. I'm thinking from time to time, which time is the right time to go to in the public with the project and to invite choirs around the world to join this project. And then sometime I think maybe it's not necessary to invite anyone. Maybe I should go on talking to people like we do now about it. So the picture is perfect and finished like it is on the web now. It's a kind of it's a piece of art for me because it's an idea which was becoming form over the times. And maybe I'm sometimes I'm thinking about that. Maybe I'm a little bit shy to go to start the whole thing, but maybe it's also beautiful as it is, just as an idea and a possibility in the world, right? And I'd like to talk about the idea and the possibility which is laying inside the project and the idea, but maybe it's not necessary to invite choirs to start the whole thing. You understand a little bit what I mean?
Just keep sending it out into the world in this way, and then see if someone picks it up and starts it without.
Maybe someone from a choir will ask me, "Hey, Philip, a cool project. When is the starting point here? We'd like to join." And I say, "I don't know."
Yeah, interesting question. That's one of these things where you never know what's going to happen. I think it would be a good thing to start inviting choirs already, I think. I wouldn't just wait but I'm sure that stuff will happen that you are not seeing right now or expecting.
Yeah.
Once you get this rolling, again, you never know what's going to happen. And I think it will be interesting to keep thinking about how it can go viral. Yeah, that's such a strange term, this viral, but it can be a helpful phenomena at times.
Yeah, you never know what will happen. We will see it afterwards.
It's a thing to consider maybe if you want to involve like well-known people, who can be advocates for the project. If you have some famous person or actor or a famous choir that starts to participate, what if if some Berlin choir does it in the central station of Berlin? Stuff like that might, of course, trigger something too. But I don't know how important that is in your viewpoint. If the celebrities get involved or not.
Everybody should get involved, Philip. Yeah, it's like you said. It could be that nothing is happening, and that it's not that the people don't take the idea for and do something with it or start it or get that they're not get involved because it's also work, right? You have to do something. But it could also be that it's getting viral or that some prominent persons are putting it to another level. Nobody knows. We will see it after 1 year or after 2 years when we talk again. Now we are before the project, the starting point, and yes, I'm open to everything. For me, like I mentioned, the idea or it's for me, it's my piece of art,
Mm,
this picture or this vehicle,
mm,
and it's kind of service what I'm doing for other people, and what they're doing with it. You never know, but yes, it's. I'm curious what's coming out of the intention.
yeah, so am I.
We'll see.
Yeah. Is there any idea included in your proposal? I'm not sure I saw something about that in your text, but about how to help it spread to other countries? Like, would that be a matter of it happening by itself also, or are there certain actions that could help?
Well,
Uh,
one idea what I was thinking about is the idea to start the campaign in like 5 continents, similar.
yeah.
And I,
Well,
I
can
can
do
do
it.
it. I mean, there are choirs everywhere. I could start in Australia, in Sydney, writing to choirs and invite them personally. I can do this. I can write to choirs in Tokyo. I mean, we're in the World Wide Web world, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I can choose one country in Europe, like Paris or London, one in the United States, and what else have we got? So we have all the
Africa.
Africa. Yes,
There must be choirs in Africa.
of course.
A lot so than I think.
Yes. And so from then on, when the idea is out in the world, you know
Mhm.
you don't know what was happening. It's my child, and I give the child to the world,
Mhm. Yeah.
and then it should grow and get an adult, and we will see what possibilities are
Mhm.
what is possible.
It would feel like a powerful thing, I think, if it was sort of arising in many places simultaneously. That would amplify the message still.
That's at last the aim. What I was the goal. What I was aiming to, right?
Yeah.
But to have something international, to have something global. That's what we need, I think, in the civil society.
Mhm.
That we connect and reach each other, our hand, because
Yeah.
that's how is it called? That's important to. That's one other question I'd like to ask you. If you think it's important to connect, to have a helpful tool for the civil society to connect with all those positives, little initiatives which already are inside the world, because there are other voices which are saying, no, it's not necessary. It's enough what we have. Everybody should do there where we stand and work on the project and work on the change and the transformation thing. But we don't need a bigger
Network.
network for this
Mm.
kind of change. And I'm thinking that in this kind of crisis, which we're running into, we absolutely need a bigger network from in the civil society. What are you thinking about it? I mean, both is possible, but
Mm.
what's your opinion?
I think that would be a good thing to connect more all the dots that are appearing, because that will only grant more energy and power to that whole. Well, it's not really a movement, even. I see it like these things that are arising simultaneously all over the planet. It's like a spontaneous eruption of different viewpoints and a different energy and a different approach to a lot of things. And I think they need way more voice than they have at this point. And I think that is beginning to happen somewhat through the internet. You have these beginnings of networks. I'm following a couple of those already, and at some point I want to put some links to those on my website as well, because
What you're talking about is called liminal web or
well, that might be a part of it. I'm not so familiar with that term liminal web, but there are a lot of networks that are engaged in connecting change makers,
Mhm.
sort of exchanging information, energy, and connecting to other networks. if I'm correct, I'm remembering correctly, there's like this Sein network. And well, there are things like NAS, where we met, huh? That's a kind of an example of that. And there are other networks similar to that. There's Jeremy Lent's Deep Transformation Network, and there's Connection Field. There's One World. There are sort of there's the network started by Erwin Laszlo, the philosopher. So and there are many more, I'm sure.
Deep adaptation from Jem Bender is also network.
Okay, okay, yeah, I haven't checked that one out yet. Uh, and so I think it would be good if there's a kind of growing from the bottom up at the moment, I think.
Yeah.
And I think it would be interesting if there is at some point some kind of, yeah, that it's sort of, that there are more ways that those have a common platform or a common voice or something, yeah. Even though that is not so easy or it has dangers in it as well, that, yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's so diverse also, all the new perspectives that are.
Raising.
But I think that it is a good thing if all these initiative ideas connect more. Yeah.
Yes, which is my uh, um, I'm trying to do this with those 12 points like a
Mm.
minimal
Yeah, you found that,
consent,
eh?
right?
Yeah. Mhm.
Where many people in the uh, change and transformations scene worldwide maybe can say yes, it's a minimal consent. I can agree.
Yeah, and I think you mentioned that in your 12 points that everybody should get involved politically also in a way or organizationally.
And
Because I think
local also.
locally, yes, because I think that the traditional political systems we have in place right now are very ill-equipped to deal with all these things because they are so dependent on the status quo and on the economic system as it exists at this point. And I think it would be good if people realize that the changes we need will not come top down. I don't think they will have to come bottom up,
That's
which,
yes.
yeah. So, and that means everybody will have to get involved, I think, and not just expect that somebody on the top will fix it for us.
Yes, and that's a great challenge, right?
Yes.
To have a grassroots movement which are really doing the transformation or the metamorphosis things which are needed to have in like 100 or 200 years in planet which on which surface is still possible to have a nice and peaceful living, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I think it will be a huge challenge. Uh, but that's why I like the comparison that Daniel Schmachtenberger makes with the transition from caterpillar to butterfly,
Yeah, absolutely. There's the imago cells, right?
because the caterpillar doesn't just rest and grow wings. It's like totally destroyed. It
Absolutely.
becomes blubber and um, but before that it was gathering parts, as Schmachtenberger says. It was eating everything in order to gather the parts that will be assembled into a butterfly later. But if you observe the caterpillar's behavior, it's like, it's eating everything and doesn't do anything useful. It's like, this will eat itself into extinction. But then nobody can predict from that phase how it enters the chrysalis, and then, it just destroys itself and it gets reassembled as a butterfly, which is a wonderful being, which is pollinating everything and just so I think humanity kind of looks like the caterpillar at this point. We're just not we don't seem to be doing anything good for the planet, and we're just eating everything and destroying everything. And at least that's the image many people have, I think.
Yeah. And
So
it's true in a way.
in a way, it's true. It's not only that, but I think, and on the other hand, there's people who think that we're all doing great and there's no problem and we'll solve everything. So that's, yeah, I find that questionable. But I like to keep that idea in mind of the caterpillar changing into this gorgeous being. And
Yeah.
I like to keep that as that potential for humanity central in my mind.
Yes. Absolutely perfect picture for what we. But there's one difference in this picture, because in the butterfly pictures, it's become like a soup inside the cocoon, right? Totally
Mm,
destroyed the caterpillar, and then
yeah.
you have these little imago cells, which are
Mm,
starting to create something different, and then building an absolutely new being
yeah.
inside the.
From the same genome as the caterpillar. That's interesting to see.
Yes, but
Mm,
the challenge that we are facing now as a human being is that we have to do it on ourselves. I think we are not we are not beings which can do like cocooning stuff and then everything happen on
yeah.
like by nature, so to say.
Yeah.
We have to find the strength and the curiosity and the love and the courage to do this transformation or metamorphosis.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
that's the opposite thing. Like the
Yeah.
caterpillar is it's like doing from instinct or from by
Mm,
nature, made by nature. We
mm,
must do the conversation by ourselves, and maybe we have to become gods and goddess,
mm,
and maybe we are gods and goddess, and on the way to
mm.
a bigger um, being. And that's a challenge which makes things much more
Yeah.
much more not easy but
Difficult.
difficult. Thank you. That makes it much more difficult.
Yeah, because that liminal phase between the caterpillar and the butterfly is destructive. So just a second. Somebody was making a lot of noise in the
That's
house.
nice.
Um, so where was I? So this phase of the transition from caterpillar to butterfly is it's not easy, I think, for the caterpillar. I don't think it's like a pleasant experience. So I think that we will go through difficult phases and there I don't think it will be an easy path in no circumstance. And that's why I think we will so much need to develop these new perspectives on who we are and what do we want from life and what is worthwhile doing while living. Because as long as we think that we have to just have a lot of stuff and do all the things we're used to and just have this luxury life with all the material certainty that we're used to, I think that will go in any case, a lot of it.
Yeah.
But the question is, are we going to be a lot unhappier because of that? I think we might just become much happier if we get rid of some of the stuff that we drag along. And we might lose a lot of material things, but we can gain a lot of community and sense of purpose and sense of connectivity to the whole planet and a new idea of what life is really about.
But these are two things which are scaring the people, right?
Mm,
On the first hand, to let go, of material things,
Mm.
and on the other hand, to get into a direction which is something new, or to let things grow which are not experienced till now for many people, like community on another level, like I
Yeah,
don't know, playing, doing creative stuff, having time by ourselves, calming down, have time for the old children, for gardening or meditation, doing art, doing music, doing stuff.
yeah.
But also it's frightening because the people are not common with this.
No, no, and I think we're a lot of people are sort of locked in a kind of well, they call it the rat race, huh? The sort of non-stop doing in order to make sure that this material stuff can go on. You know, they have to work overtime, both parents all the time in order to pay for the house and the two cars and expensive travels and so which means that they never have time to really relax and be with themselves and feel things and which keeps them anxious and disconnected, which limits the viewpoint that there is something else possible. And so many people are stuck in, and so many people are exhausted and overworked and burnt out and depressed. And it's just like, this idea that we're doing great as a civilization is just
Gone.
not correct, I think.
When I follow your ideas, it's such a great gift and such a beautiful thing to have a crisis like climate change and all the extinction and all this stuff what is coming now. It's such
Yeah.
an opportunity to really in shape shifting, right?
I think that's how we should look at it, to as a sort of birth crisis or something. Uh, and but a birth is usually a difficult and painful process. So I think it will be no doubt that. But then yeah, I think something much better might await us than what we are creating now.
We will all be born again, and we will see what is the
Yeah.
world becoming in our next birth, or not next incarnation.
Yeah.
Incarnation.
Yeah. So the good ending is not guaranteed, huh? So
Yeah.
but even I think we have to go for it and do whatever we can
Yes.
to have a good ending or a good start.
But that's an important sentence, what you were saying, that the good ending is not guaranteed, not for granted, that it depends on us, that it really depends on us.
So, yeah. Yeah. And well, I think this sense of safety that we are used to is in any case an illusion because life has always been dangerous for humans. And I think it's only very recent that a lot of people can have this sense of that nothing can happen to them. Like in general, when I go out into the street, I don't think someone will shoot at me or there will be no robbers in general or no no invading army, luckily. So in general, a lot of people have a sense of peace and security that is exceptional, I think. And that is also maybe a little bit dangerous because it tricks us into thinking that things will be okay in any case, because
Yeah.
things have been okay for so long, and our parents went through a war and my grandparents went through a war and they've experienced acute danger. But I think danger is not necessarily a bad thing because it also keeps you alert to what life is. And I think we've been lulled to sleep by our safety in a way.
Yeah.
In the sense of urgency and this realization that look, we really have to start doing something or the whole thing might end, might also reinforce our desire to live and the feeling of what life is really about.
Yeah.
And that's more intense than just being relaxed and being convinced that everything will be okay. But yeah, it's a different way of existing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think we can start by singing.
Yeah, we can start by beauty. And singing is, in my concept, a part of um, the transformational power of beauty.
Mhm. Absolutely. And it's also powerful because it happens in communion and with a lot with other people, and that
Yeah,
creates
yeah.
energy that's very powerful, yeah. So I think it's a great idea and a great project.
Thank you, Philip.
Thank you.
Thank you. So I thank you also for the whole conversation. That was interesting and empowering for me to start the whole thing and to believe in what I'm doing. So, yes, for the
Yeah.
so,
Well, this is the whole thing we described earlier also, the connecting and the networking and the joining forces
yeah,
and yeah, so we'll be in touch, I guess.
we'll be in touch. And thank you again for the beautiful conversation.
Thank you. It was very interesting for me as well, as always. Yeah.
See each other.
Yes.